Welcome. I am Dr. Patrice Berry, licensed psychologist, and here I share legal and entertainment news from a psychological perspective. I am doing two streams today. So today is Saturday, and I'm going to be talking about Kevin Franke, him asking the court to restrict Jodi Hildebrandt's just if she's trying to liquidate any financial assets, he's asked that they halt her potential sale of her house. And I think this brings up a lot of different things. For me, it brings up should he be able to profit from like what his wife and ex-wife, gonna be ex-wife, but still like and the fact that he wasn't there, like, this just I have some thoughts. These are just my general opinions. I am just sharing my thoughts. I'm a licensed psychologist, but I'm not involved in this case in any way, and my concern is for these children, because just based on the information that we know, what we know has happened to these kids, they have a very long road ahead of them. And while I do think, especially because Jodi Hildebrandt, she was a licensed therapist, she was presenting herself as a treatment provider. It's my understanding that that was her first connection with the family, was doing some services, I think, with the oldest son. And and so that's where professionally, I'm surprised, and I'll definitely watch to see if they do this, if they also sue connections, because a lot of this was under the guise of her organization. But I'm really stuck with this because the person that gave Jody access to the children was his wife, and, I have some thoughts. So, welcome, welcome. I am in and so Virginia, we normally do not get snow, and so I'm glad to be able to talk about this with you all live. So this is how it feels to me, okay? It feels now I think he is looking out for the children, but I don't think he should be able to profit from any of this in any way. And so if I was a juror, if I was involved in this in any way, it would be a trust that would be set aside for the children, and that would be specifically for their mental health care and any care that the kids needed down the road. But he should not be using any funds if he does get money from this. I don't think those funds should go towards his living expenses. Towards now he provides a place, but no, like I don't think he should be able to profit from this in any way. It's my understanding, and we don't know. So family court, it's appropriately it's sealed. It's my understanding, I haven't seen otherwise, that the children are likely still in DSS care. Now, he is the person that would be the one legally able to file for this. Like, he's the one that can do this. Even though he doesn't have physical custody of the kids, he still has rights as their parent. At least how I understand the law within the state of Virginia. So the state couldn't file for this. Like, he's the one that would have to do it. Now, for anyone else, does it make you think, is this part of the reason why he decided to sever ties with Ruby? Because I do think him suing Jody as Ruby's ex-husband, to me, that looks different versus him suing Jody as like, and if him and Ruby were still married. In my From where I am, that would look a little bit different. Oh, yes. Yes, so he is I'm glad that we're able to talk about this, yay, because let's go through this. I, of course, have the links to these down below, but it was back on and I'm clicking this one, and now I need to share this tab. Alright? So, Kevin Franke asked the court for restitution to stop the sale of Jodi Hildebrandt's home. So I believe this was back when I was looking this up. I want to say it was back maybe January 12th or so. In the motion, Franke said Hildebrandt's admission of child harm established that two of his children suffered both physical and psychological harm. I totally agree. He said that the children have received medical care, and because they're in state custody, the state's the one that has paid for this and are continuing to receive mental health treatment. They likely, if they are still in state care, now I don't know, they might have been placed with a family member. I do not know what's happened with the children. If the children are in state custody, they typically are provided with state insurance. The motion said it is clear the children have suffered irre- irre- uh, irreparable harm because of the harm by Hildebrandt and will require long-term care. Kevin Franke said once the juvenile court matter is resolved, which is expected to be in September, the cost of this care would need to come from him and his children. So, okay, so the court matter, the juvenile relations matter, it looks like they're not going back to court until September. All right. So at this time, if he does have any visitation, it's likely supervised. And the court has likely asked him to do some things. And I do hope, and I will say this over and over again, I do hope that the court requires that he do a psychological evaluation and that he do a parenting capacity evaluation. Once again, not involved in this case. If I was involved, those would be the things that I would be asking for. What a parenting capacity does is it looks at the person's discipline style. It looks at how they manage stress with their kids. Um, he's likely done some parenting classes like since the kids were removed. That's a very common thing that the court orders. I don't know if they would order him towards any type of anger management based on some of the rate my professor reports from his university based on some of the things that have been publicly shared there. I would be a little concerned just about how does he manage his emotions? How does he manage himself? I love like just recommending a bunch. I would have recommended that he do individual therapy. He should have to do family therapy because those kids could feel like he abandoned them, like he just that because of the issue, whatever was going on between him and mom, and mom said to leave, that he left, and then he had very little, if that he had no contact with them for a period of time. And during that time, they were significantly harmed and they weren't able to reach out to even their father to let him know what was happening. And that can really impact how a person perceives the other person. It can really just impact how they feel. I also have looked at all of Jesse's interviews, Jesse Hildebrandt, Jodi Hildebrandt's niece, and with what Jesse has talked about, these kids likely felt like it was their fault, and that Jodi Hildebrandt had a way of kind of almost brainwashing people and getting them to believe that they were this evil, that they were this bad, and that they had to be subjected to this harm in order to like save their soul almost. And so very, very concerned about all of that. I'll make this a little bit bigger. All right. Um Ugh. And I do think that whoever the kids are working with now, the state may require or he might be required to continue services with those providers once he if once he does. Chances are really good that he likely will get custody of the kids back. I'm just being honest with you all. Like this is how a lot of these family court things go. I Unless something major happens, and it seems like he has a pretty decent lawyer, I really do think that he will. I know people have feelings thinking that he shouldn't be able to get them back, but, like, ugh. Research has shown that if kids can be in a safe household with a safe parent, that is what works best. Even if that parent has if that parent is able to be a safe person. So that's where in my state, if a parent does harm a child, um, that child can be removed. The state works with that parent, and if that parent is able to be determined to be safe, but that's how our child welfare system works. It is how it works. That even unless the harm is so egregious that it results in major legal charges, that it results in the fact that this person cannot they don't have the capacity to learn how to be safe with children. And that's where parental rights can be terminated. Even so, I don't know how it is out in their state, but in Virginia, even if parental rights are terminated and that person has another child, sometimes the state will kind of flag it that they need to but if that person moves to a whole new state, there's nothing that would stop that individual from parenting that new child. Like our child welfare system is very, very broken. He is a professor. I'm not sure if he still teaches. So back when all of this happened, so let me see if I can Google that. Back when all of this happened, he was a professor at he's an associate professor at Brigham Young University, BYU, in the Department of Civil and Constructional Engineering. But he was allegedly, so this is according to Insider News, I don't know, he was allegedly fired in spring of 2023 and has since stayed away from the limelight. So it sounds like he has professionally that he's a civil engineer, and wherever he's working, whatever he's doing, it's likely as an engineer. All right. All right. And so it just I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels this way. Like this seems now I want those children to be taken care of financially. What Jodi did is especially because w- she was a licensed therapist. Like she was doing this under the guise of helping people. And I think the family did trust her as a licensed person. Now, I think the family already might have been very punitive or like pretty authoritarian. So there's authoritarian parenting when it's like, do what I do because I told you to do it. Don't ask any questions. Like it's all control, no love or very little love. Permissive parenting is all love, just like, do what you do. There are no boundaries. That's permissive. Where we want to be is authoritative. So hopefully I said authoritarian. Sometimes I get my A words mixed up. So there's authoritarian parenting where it's like it's high control, but then authoritative has boundaries and also love. It's a bit more balanced. All right. All right. Hey, Sarah. Welcome, welcome. And so supposedly he wants to use this money for the kids' ongoing care. Um, let me know in the chat if y'all want to pull up the house because Jodi has a $5 million home and it's available on Zillow. The sale of it has been halted. So the sale of her house has been halted until uh I think until the court hearing. So until she is sentenced, they have halted it. Um there are parts of the house that look absolutely beautiful, and then there is the heart-wrenching, heartbreaking part of the house where you know that's the dungeon where the kids were likely locked, and, like, this is where the harm took place, and so okay. And so Utah often does order anger management. Yes, that is very, very common. Sarah, sorry. Nightbot always gets you. Nightbot always gets you. All right. I'm catching up on the comments. I will get there. Um, so Sherry is a college student, and I don't know. So it is difficult for a person. So I don't know if she is in the place to be a caregiver for the kids. And the state would first have to find that dad can't do it. So, like, dad's parental rights would have to be terminated. in order for Sherry, or dad would have to willingly, and dad, I don't believe dad would do that. So dad would either have to willingly give custody to Sherry, which I do not think he would do, or he would have to, or his rights would have to be terminated by the state. And it takes a lot for parental rights to be terminated. All right. All right. Yes, yes. All right. All right. So I'm all caught up on the chat. So let's keep going. He asked the judge to immediately prevent any liquidation or transfer of Hildebrandt's assets, so the resources to fund restitution would be available. The motion said Hildebrandt's home was listed for sale on January 4th for $5.1 million. Franke argued that it's obvious Hildebrandt is trying to get rid of her. I don't know, is trying to conceal her resources. Like she's not going to need the house. She's going to have some significant jail time. Excuse me. And so um, she had a 10,000 square foot home all by herself. Like, and no judgment. Like a person can have whatever size of house they want. There was a point of time, one of my family members, they had a very large home. It took a lot to upkeep the home, and eventually they did end up downsizing to something that was more manageable for them. But at the time, it worked out great. I was able to live with them for a period of time while I was in graduate school. Uh, so Jodi's house has 5-car garage, in-ground pool. I think there's like a in-ground jacuzzi. Like there's the house is a lot. It's a lot. All right. So back over here. So yep, Kevin Franke did file this motion on January 12th, asking the court to stop the sale of her house. And in a plea statement, Hildebrandt said they tried to convince, so this is the male victim in this case, that he was evil and the punishments were necessary for him to repent and were an act of love. That is both emotional and spiritual and spiritual harm. That really gets somebody to their core, emotionally and spiritually. Um, in the motion, Kevin Franke said Hildebrandt's admission, blah blah blah. Okay, we read that part. It's clear that they suffered harm, and this would be completely this would be a completely inadequate and inequitable result that the victims and the victim's family would have to pay for their own treatment for injuries caused by Hildebrandt. But he's leaving out the fact that it was also his wife. Like if I was Hildebrandt's lawyer, like it was also your wife though. Like it wasn't only her. And so, I bet you she doesn't. I could be wrong. I know that in the Mormon church, I believe you're supposed to. Uh, she seemed kinda greedy to me. Now these are my thoughts, my opinions, okay? She seemed very focused on the money. I wonder if maybe I don't know. Like those are my thoughts. I would be surprised if she did. It sounds like the church, the Mormon church, sent her a lot of clients, and they were one of her biggest billers, all right? So, I don't like that that's a house of, like, torture and harm. I do not now, okay, if it was significantly reduced, so I like properties, I'm just being honest, okay? I'm just being honest. But, like, I wouldn't pay 5,000,000. I wouldn't pay market value for it. But, like, if it was significantly reduced, I don't know, like, we could sage it, we could get the evils I don't know, like, we could probably make it work, but, um, that a lot happened there. A lot happened there. I'm pretty sure there has some bad vibes for people that believe in those kinds of things. I just could not. And, like, it seems that way. It definitely seems that way. Oh, can we see the house? All right, so let's see. I think this article had the house linked. I wonder if they took it down. So let's see if we can find it. If I can't find it, Natalie Lawyer Chick, she did a live. I want to say it might have been a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. She did a live and covered it. Let me see. So let me stop sharing. Let me find it. Zillow, Jodi, Hildebrandt house. And it's like, it's probably going to come right up because that's what the internet does. It was listed by Fathom Realty. It's in Ivins, Utah. Like, okay. So let's go on ahead and take a look at the house real quick. All right. My next live is not going to be on time. So y'all stay here and then we will redirect to talk about Wendy Adelson next. Okay. We're going to take a real quick look at the house. The realty company, they took some very, very beautiful pictures. And in my opinion, um, let's see. So this is the pool. I think that's the little jacuzzi. And this is, I believe, let's go back. This is built in 2017. Wow. Over 10,000 square feet. And I believe it's 5-car garages. It looks like there are 2 fireplaces. Okay. And so it looks like this is similar. So this is how the houses in the area are kind of built. And this is all one house. All right. And so this looks like a foyer or something, a walk-in. Like, it looks like a very, very beautiful home. It's just so sad that horrific things happen there. Absolutely so sad. And I can't get rid of that 2 files for cleanup. I'm trying to do some Norton stuff and there we go. Okay. I was able to make that go away. Like, so we're not to the sad pictures yet. Like, that's a beautiful view of the mountains. Like, this could have been a very lovely home for a family to grow up, all those things. There's the kitchen, another living space, pretty open floor plan. There's a little fireplace. All right. And the kitchen, double ovens. I think that might be the refrigerator. The refrigerator's behind. Mm, all right. Wow. I've never seen that like that, where the oven matches the cabinets. Y'all, I like houses. Should I have warned y'all? Okay, so some people don't like her. It's very rustic to me. I could be wrong. It seems very rustic to me. Um, it's very like flat. And I'm sure they've removed anything that like any major decorations. I'm sure they've removed some things from the house. Um, all right. So that's that part. I'm guessing that somebody came in and removed her things. Okay, so there's another refrigerator. This might be like one of those like um so this looks like another area cuz this doesn't look like the same part of the kitchen. I could be wrong. This looks like a wine cellar or something. I don't know. This looks like another area or like a butler's pantry. I think that's what it's called. A butler's pantry. This is probably an office or something. All right. So more steps, more open space, bathroom, probably a half bath, laundry room, lots of cabinets. And then this is the outdoor area. We are not going to get to the dungeon space. I will put this in the comments if anyone wants to take a look at the house. All right? Cuz there are some trigger warning spots on there where you know that this is exactly where um the oldest boy, the boy that was there, you know that's where he escaped from. I did listen to the 911 call, And that poor neighbor is just, like, it's a lot. It is a lot. I personally I'm just sharing my thoughts. I do not think that Kevin Franke should benefit financially in any way from the harm that came to his children, because I personally do see that his wife played a role in it. And I don't think Jodi is 100% responsible for what happened to his kids. Like, his wife was a part of it, in my opinion. Um so Hidden True Crime did an in-depth review of the house. I do enjoy their show. I forget the doctor's name, but he's a forensic psychologist. I do like his coverage of cases, and I do follow them as well. His wife, she is a former news anchor, and she covers things from a pretty and she can talk about her experience. I believe she was in the LDS church, or I don't know if she still is, like, but she knows a lot about the Mormon faith and all of that. And, l neglect can be what you didn't do, and I think that's why he doesn't have the kids right now, because he kind of and that's where, oh my gosh. That's where Natalie talked about parental alienation, and how that is a crime in Maryland and in most other states. And even if his wife was saying, "Hey, I don't want you to, for the benefit of our family, you need to not have any contact with the kids." For him to allow that as a parent, you are giving up your parental responsibility. And, like, 'cause he had no contact with them, because if he had seen them, if he had known, I hope that he would have done or said something about it. So, in setting up, I forgot to plug in my computer, so y'all just give me a second while I plug in my computer. I'm glad I didn't unplug anything that was important. So I think her name is Lauren. I think Lauren on the podcast, I wanna say. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. So she is still, a Mormon, and that is okay. I thought so. Like, the way that she talked about things, it seemed like she still, believed. So I did talk about spiritual harm. I hope I did. Alright. And, now what they did, I believe, is outside of the scope of what is typical within a Mormon tradition. So I wouldn't say that everyone in, like, a Mormon tradition, so I'm careful about that. Now, I have done videos talking about cults, talking about if there is this, what kind of makes for spiritual harm. I do have issues with purity culture, especially the role that it sometimes puts on women. I worked at a Christian sports camp where the girls, like, we had our straps had to be four fingers, thick, and our shorts couldn't be this long. Our shorts had to be fingertip length. There was all of these things for the girls, but for the boys, there was nothing. Like these college athlete men were able to walk around, like, shirtless, and I'm like, I have eyes too. Like, why am I why can't I wear a two-piece, but, like, he can walk around like that? So, I do definitely have thoughts about, those topics. I think sometimes the way that, sexuality is talked about within religious communities can set, especially girls, up to be harmed, and then it can also set up males if there is any type of if there's harm to boys, sometimes they won't come forward and talk about it, or if they do, sometimes I don't know, they're not believed. It can really cause issues. So I have definitely talked about that in other places. All right. All right. So, y'all, let me know if we need to dig deeper into any of these things. I will definitely be covering her sentencing, because that is going to be coming up. So Jodi and Ruby, they're gonna be sentenced, and she cannot sell her house until after that sentencing. or until this legal thing is resolved with Kevin's suit against her. And I would, because I think Connections is still working. I think Connections is still like up and running. And I wonder if she's still able, because she's the founder of Connections. Is she able to make money from Connections still? Like, is that I hope not. I hope hoo-ha, but so those are my concerns from where I am, and, I will say it a trillion times, I do not think he should profit in any way, and I do not think that Jodi was 100% responsible. I do think that she, like, holds I do hold her more responsible because she was a licensed therapist, because she did understand, like, what harm was. She seemed to use, in my opinion, manipulative tactics, and she seemed to run her organization more like a cult than like a helpful, supportive group. And all of those things are like red flags. And so I do think she should definitely be held responsible, but I don't think that it is 100% on her. All right. So we are going to switch over to talk about Wendy Adelson. If you want to hang around for that, the Adelson family, I took a look at her testimony because I did not watch every second of Charlie's trial, Charlie Adelson. And so we are going to take a look at a little bit of Wendy Adelson's testimony. Hopefully, you are redirected to that stream, but we are going to start that in just a moment. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your day and follow me over to like this second stream.